Going live, you're live. Welcome back to Saturday Q&A. Couch to Crit. What's up, guys?
What's up?
We have a new face today. Eugene from Penn Velo. He's a local.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for joining.
What's up, Jeff?
And you guys remember William? And there's this other schlub on the far right. Back to Saturday. Soon to be whooping the Cat 5 field, Mr. Logan.
I get ahead of ourselves.
I'm starting workout. I'm going for it, you guys.
All right. Good.
We're doing another ramp test today. Did I mention that to you guys?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No, you didn't. I quit.
I'm not ready for my redemption yet.
No, but we have a couple of bumps there at the end. We have two little spikes there at the end because I just did Pettit +1. I loaded up Pettit, and then I was about to click go live, and then I looked down about 3 inches, and I saw Pettit +1. I was like, all right, that looks like fun. We'll do a couple of 20-second things at the end, just because I know that somebody, probably me, is going to be in the middle of talking, and I'm all of a sudden going to go, oh, and my legs are going to seize up. So yeah, we just posted an episode about Logan, about our actual ramp test, and Logan's 20-something% increase, 24% increase, which is awesome. And you've been on adaptive training since, and it's like right at that spot where you think you can't quite finish the workout, but you do, which is the perfect workout every time, which is the slogan. And how's that going so far?
It's been really good. Yeah. I'm trying to listen to it and not get an ego about it and say, when it tells me to do an easier workout the next time, and say, no, I can handle it. So it's going good.
But you're not having to change the percentage of the workout, like you just keep it at 100?
Yep.
So no more guesswork.
I was saying before we started, I had to backpedal for my first time yesterday, so that was humbling.
So for like 30 seconds, you backpedal, just caught your breath, and then finished the workout?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shame in that. I do that all the time. I mean, that does mean you probably need work in that area, but that's what adaptive training is all about. It's going to make that adjustment, and you'll tell it. In fact, if you have to backpedal, I'm not even sure you have to tell it. That's probably a Jonathan question. But I think it sees that, and then it'll ease off for the next workout in that category. But I struggled for a couple of workouts. I am not doing adaptive training. I struggled for a couple of workouts after that that group workout ramp test because I set a new FTP, and the first ones are hard. And I tried to get into like VO2 work right away, and I was like, I had to backpedal on a couple of those. So now I'm completing workouts, and it feels really hard but achievable still. We have some questions coming in. What's your guys' opinion about Dylan Johnson's video talking about overtraining with TrainerRoad? Well, you know, the good news is we don't even have to leave it up to our opinion, because we can just let the gains do the talking. I mean, we all are on TrainerRoad plans, and we all saw increases. Speaking of which, William was the only one who didn't have an increase, but William had issues, equipment issues, and there's been an update since, right?
There has. So the keen-eyed out there, it's a rear wheel sitting there. So I got rid of the kicker or snap, upgrade to the kicker, got the stage use power meter sorted out, and I actually did a ramp test last week Monday, and we hit 204. So
what were you
some
before?
Redemption there. 185.
So everyone's seeing increases. So the quickest and easiest way to answer that question is just we're all seeing increases, so we're all happy with it. Eugene, new guy on the stream. I don't know if you use TrainerRoad regularly. What's your story?
No, I mostly use Lyft, but like I don't really need that much structure.
Okay.
I don't recommend what I do. I just pretty much race on Zwift
So
all the time.
Penn Velo
Yeah.
is a local club here in the Bay
Yeah.
Area. And do you race?
I do race. I started in 2019. Cat 5, and on my license it says I'm Cat 2, but I think I'm more of the Cat 3 plus.
Wait, you're downgrading yourself?
No, I'm not downgrading myself. That's just what I consider myself.
So you're modest. But you're a Cat 2. Your license is Cat 2, you said.
Yeah. Yeah, Penn Velo is they're on Zwift out in Force. They take them to the platform. So that's primarily what I use. But like different strokes for different folks.
I'm Cat 5 on
TrainerRoad.
Zwift. I've done Zwift races and I get smashed.
I think you should train in a way that you enjoy yourself. So if you enjoy TrainerRoad, use TrainerRoad. If you enjoy Sufferfest, use Sufferfest. If you enjoy Zwift, use that.
Yeah, whatever's going to get you on the bike.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. And this is for fun too, so sometimes people lose track of the fact that this is for fun. How is the power, Ethan asks, Jeff, how is the power saddle now compared to your favorite ISM? I like both. The ISM, I'll tell you one thing about the ISM. You have to get the fit just right. And it might require a new seat post with some setback because in comparison with the traditional saddle, you need to slide it back to be in the same, to your body to be in the same position. And I had to buy a new seat post with setback. So just be careful. You might put the ISM on and be like, oh, this thing's trash. I don't know why Jeff said this is good. But you have to get the fit just right, and then you'll know. I think the ISM excels at like time trials. Obviously, I think that's most of their customer base is triathletes, time trialists. But I found it pretty good for crits too because it really shines when you're like down here like this, really getting after it. Because the idea is that weird shape of the saddle, your sit bones sit right on the nose of it, and you're able to sit in this really aggressive position more comfortably. But now with specialized power saddles and all the derivations of that, other companies are doing the same thing. They're shortening the nose of the saddle. So you're able to achieve a very similar result with non-ISM saddles. The H2O Hammer, which is a good name. Watching the Helviso races, it looks like the roads are not closed. So how can you race on them? It's true, it's not a sanctioned race. They are not closed roads, but it's in a business park that is unoccupied, and it's been going on for years. So everyone knows our route, our schedule, and we have an alternate route in case there is any traffic or anything going on, like construction or something. And so it's very rare to have any type of issue with cars or pedestrians or other cyclists. But if there is, we immediately neutralize. And I've shown this in some of the videos. So yeah, I realize that it looks sketchy. And sometimes it kind of is, I'm not gonna lie, but never to the point that we're risking ourselves getting hit by a car or anything like that. We just neutralize the race, and everyone understands the rules. We're pretty clear about it. (70-30) imbalance. I would go talk to a physio. That sounds very extreme, and there's something going on. There's a leg length discrepancy, or
Sounds like a broken power meter.
an injury or a broken power meter. There's something going on that you need to go check out. And I can't answer that based on a YouTube comment. Sorry, I wish I could. Have you all done a professional bike fit? I have. Logan has. William, Eugene?
Yeah, I have multiple times.
Trying to get one scheduled, but the wait list is 3 months long.
I believe it. They're nice. I suggest people get it. I know it can be expensive, but I refer back to mine. I know, and also I know you're supposed to get them fairly regularly, like maybe once a season, because we change. Mine's old, but I use it as a place to come back to. And like I will reference it when I get a new bike and just make sure I'm ballpark, and then I make minor tweaks from there. So it's useful. How many races should one target, Brandon asks, in a season? I was looking at peaking for a race next week, one in July, another one in September. Is 3 peaks a good number for my build periods, or is that too much? Everyone's different. This is another one that's pretty hard to answer. It depends on what you mean by like a target race or an A race. Because the more of those you have, the less they actually are like A races. Ideally, it's one event per season. So you do, 3 months or 4 months of progression through base and build up to this point. And you can sneak in probably 2 of those a season with very little consequence to your peak, quote unquote, peak performance. But if you're trying to do 3, you might start to lose a little bit of edge. We're not talking much. So for example, I don't really train that way. I will get fit and I will peak, but it's not like for one weekend. I will peak for a bunch of races over the course of a few weeks, and then I'll continue racing, but they just won't be really high important races for me. So I usually do that for like kind of twice per season. So I'll try to be good around now. Of course, we're not racing. And I'll usually try to be good again for like July races, nationals, big races like that.
Yeah, I've seen it kind of the best way to do it if you want to peak for more than one race is peak really early in the season and then just go normal throughout the season and peak again at the end.
There has to be time in between, because every time you're peaking, that means you're reducing training volume. Your fatigue goes down, but so does your fitness. It's just your fatigue goes down more quickly than your fitness does. So when you're peaking, you can't do that again in 3 weeks. You can, but it just won't have the same impact.
If you put it into TrainerRoad though as a B race, like if you have 3 B races and 1 A race, it'll have you as fit as you could be for each of those. So
yeah, if you want to take the guesswork out of it, TrainerRoad's the way to go, because they have data scientists who solve that problem for you, and you just tell it what you want. But the point I was trying to make is like, I think there's a misconception. Like I don't say, okay, here's my A race in March, and then here's my other A race in July, let's say. I am racing between March and July, but I just understand that I'm not performing my absolute best in between. I might be at 95% of my best. Like it's not as significant as you think, maybe 90%, I don't know. But you can still definitely compete in races and win races and be very fit in between. But if you want to truly do like a 2-cycle periodization of fitness, anticipate, like map it out with your target races and make sure there's some time in between. Oh, cool, a lot of questions. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Ethan, I'd love to ride with you, man. Let me know if you're ever in the area.
Mal Testa said, any thoughts on the worldwide bike shortage?
Any thoughts just in general? Yes.
Then he pre-ordered the Bianchi in October, and he's fearing he won't get it this summer.
Sorry, I don't know. I mean, I don't work in that industry. I know that they are for-profit companies who want to make as much money as possible, so they are doing everything they can to sell you that bike.
Yep.
So I'd say hang in there and check the secondhand market. Try not to get scalped by a scalper in the secondhand market, because trust me, they know that there's a shortage too. So just keep an eye out. If you're making a big purchase secondhand, this is a question in one of my previous videos, I can't remember which one, about buying secondhand, and you're really stressed about it, you could meet at a shop and maybe pay a mechanic to look it over if you don't feel confident about looking over a used bike, because it's sketchy and it's a lot of money. I get it. So if you're worried about that and you don't feel like you have the skills to look over a bike and make sure it hasn't been laid down to crash or has a cracked frame or something, yeah, just meet at your local bike shop. Hopefully they'll do it for free, but if not, pay them whatever to do a 15-20 minute point test on your bike to make sure it's fine before you give some random guy a bunch of money. Any other questions? There's a bunch. You guys see any that are looking good?
Yeah, I can read them off if you want.
Just the interesting ones. A lot are coming in. Thank you guys. I see one from Patrick Nicholson. In the winter months, I find it hard to do any Zone 2 workouts. I do 3 to 4 interval sessions or Zwift races. Any tips on how to do Z2 indoor? Well, Zone 2 is really low intensity. It's like what we're doing now, even less maybe. Is this Zone 2? I can't remember. I think this is Zone 2. So I'm able to carry on a conversation. And one thing I've noticed is, this is probably true for everybody, maybe you guys can confirm, if you're doing a hard interval, it's hard to watch a show or listen to music or think about work or send an email or whatever it is. So if you're Zone 2, you can pass the time by putting your laptop in front of you and maybe answering some emails, watching a show, listening to music. There's a lot of things that you can do to preoccupy yourself, just as if you were riding outside. Because, yeah, Zone 2, if you live in a part of the world where getting outside is not feasible, first of all, my apologies. Sorry, William.
Still 30 degrees today.
You gotta, if you want to do Zone 2 workouts, like, you're gonna have to put in long hours, and that's gonna have to be on a trainer if it's snowing outside. So I'd find clever ways to preoccupy yourself and see if you can stay consistent, because that's the key to getting fast, guys, is consistency. Even if it's an hour a day, Zone 2, that's better than skipping a bunch of days and then trying to make up for it.
It's called Quentin Tarantino on the bike. Just watch a movie.
Yeah.
I'll have to give the TrainerRoad folks a shout out, because their podcast is perfect for
The what?
those rides. The TrainerRoad podcast.
Yeah, those are good.
They're long too, so passes.
See, I drive for work all day long, so I blow through all my podcasts. So when I ride, it's just movies.
A lot of questions.
Someone
H2O
said,
hammer. Go ahead.
said between sizes on a Giant TCR, the sizes are very similar unless an inch across C2 and half an inch. They're pretty close. With a good fit, would either of these likely work?
Either of what? There's two bikes that are similar size.
He's right in between sizes, so kind of like a little.
Oh, get the smaller bike. It's easier to make a smaller bike bigger than a bigger bike smaller, because you can add stuff like a longer stem, a longer seat post, a more aggressive angle on your stem. There's things that you can do. And pro tip, smaller bikes are stiffer because just the geometry, it's tighter geometry, it's a stiffer bike. So if you're right in between and either one will fit you properly, get the smaller bike.
So I don't think we pointed it out, but me and my wife have the exact same bike, and I got fitted on the smaller bike on hers. So I'm on a 54. So I had the exact same issue. And the bike fitter was like, you could do either one of these. It doesn't matter. Whichever one you like better.
And you said I like the hot pink one better, so you went with that.
I like the Starburst. And the power meter was
You
already
call it
on.
starburst, I call it hot pink, you know? Potato,
The other,
potato.
the other thing too with a smaller bike is that you can throw a longer stem, which I was doing. Like, I've been doing so much inside riding that I went outside. I was in the drops doing some sprints, and if you have a longer stem, it keeps your body weight a little bit more forward and a little bit more 50-50, so you're not like pulling up on the front wheel, especially if you have a bigger bike with a shorter stem. So something else to keep in mind too.
I'm glad you brought that up, William, because there's another benefit too. Not just it gets you in a better sprinting position, but a longer stem, if you think about the amount of distance you have to move to make a turn, longer stems, you have much more control over those little micro adjustments in a race, which are really important when you're in a crit. And if you have a tiny little short stem, imagine if you move it this far, it's really twitchy. Yeah. So you don't really have the control. So that's another good point. So, yeah, I mean, if you're right in between, definitely go with the smaller bike.
Unless you have to add like 4 centimeters in spacers, then you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah, if you're me and you're 6 foot, don't get a 52. That's not going to work.
I would suggest getting the bike fit before you got the bike, though.
Yeah.
They'll tell you exactly what you need.
I've got a really long torso. I'm 5'10". I've got a 56 instead of a 54. But I can use either one.
Yeah, Brandon, for Alviso, for you and your buddy, you just show up. Corner of Disc, Drive, and Grand in Alviso at noon on Tuesdays. I think they do it Thursdays too. I never go on Thursdays, but on Tuesdays. You just show up. And if you're late, just wait and you can hop in. Nobody cares.
Is it common to have a middle of the day race? I feel like that's so inconvenient for people that work.
Well, it's because people are working. They go out in their lunch break. I work really close to where Alviso starts.
I guess
go
so.
out and I do a race on my lunch break. It's awesome. And then I smash a California burrito into my face, and then I go back to work.
Because our career races here are afterward. They're like twilight. They start at 6.
Recommendations on PSI. Chris Kutabas asks.
Tubeless tires, 28 millimeter.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 65 and 70 for a 28 millimeter at your weight. Probably.
165 pounds. Yeah. Yeah. I can vouch for that. Although I haven't used tubeless before. As far as I know, that's the right range. You can get away with really low PSI. So it might seem shocking if you're used to running like 85 PSI. It's one of the benefits of tubeless.
How do you balance indoor training with outdoor riding? William asks. I don't know.
Okay, I'll take it. So first of all, you can load TrainerRoad workouts onto your head unit. So, I mean, there doesn't really have to be a balance. Go outside if it's nice. Enjoy the outside. That's what I do.
What about group rides?
It might be hard to hit your target intervals on a group ride. It might make more sense to go out and to train something else on a group ride day. So maybe have a free day in your schedule. For example, if you feel like you're capable of doing medium volume, TrainerRoad, do low volume, but supplement it with 1 or 2 outside rides per week, where you're able to go out and then do some more intervals or do group ride workouts if it's safe to do so, and practice group riding skills, you know? That's gonna be the topic of our next episode, is we're gonna do group rides outside. Logan is, and I have some drills for him to work on to help him with pack riding and to make sure he can put that FTP gain to use. Because you can have all the power in the world, if you don't know how to ride in a group, you're not going to win a bike race.
Got so many good group rides here.
Yeah,
We've
we're
got the
spoiled.
Valley Ride, Penzmello Ride, the Palo Alto Noon Ride, Spectrum. Definitely stub out.
Long time participant in the Valley Ride and the Alviso, and also Spectrum. Those are my go-tos. Of course, these days it's none of the above, but hoping to change that soon.
Yeah, I miss getting beat up by Jeff's former teammates on Peru Elite.
On the
Like
Valley
Chris-
Ride.
On Noon Ride, Palo Alto Noon Ride. Chris Evans giving me stare downs for not working.
He's Mr. Consistent, that Chris Evans, isn't he? Yeah, everyone's welcome to race at Alviso. Doesn't matter your age or your category. We do ask that you have some pack riding skills just to make sure it's safe for you and everybody else. But yeah, people will get lapped. That's what Schmack was wondering. People do, and that's totally fine. Like, I encourage it. If that was me years ago when I first started, is I come out to the aforementioned Spectrum ride and I get dropped. The good part about it, well, there's two things. One is, if you're not winning, you're learning. So if you're getting dropped, you're like, wow, that sucked. How did that happen? How can I prevent that from happening? You're always getting better. And then with Alviso, if you get dropped, you have that lesson to learn. And then you can apply it in about 3 more minutes, because here comes the pack at 28 miles an hour. And you can jump back in, and you can rest for a second and jump back in and try to fix what just went wrong and what caused you to get dropped. Maybe it's just fitness. That could be the case. It's probably not, because if you're really good at navigating the pack, you can sit in a P12 field that's going 28 miles an hour with really low power, if you just are very consistent and smooth. It doesn't take much. Drafting's amazing. It's people don't give it the amount of credit it deserves.
The very last race I did in 2020 was about a year ago. The room with Crit. I did 28.2 miles an hour at an average of 211 watts.
So there you go. That's a good testament to how important drafting and position is. So I think
I
go ahead.
touched the brake like times the entire race.
Smart. Yeah, so you have that skill down, obviously. And there's a fun game I used to play with my teammates, some of the bigger races we've done, which is who can have the lowest average power in the group. That's a kind of a fun game to play. I might have Logan do that in one of his local group rides. Don't get dropped. See how low you can make your average power while remaining in the really fast competitive group ride.
All right. It does depend on the field, though. E3 Crit is going to be a lot more surgy, a lot more rubber bandy. The race that I did was a 35 plus 123. So everyone in that race knows what they're doing and knows how to conserve.
So bike racing is unique in that I would speculate that 9 out of every 10 of my wins, I have had a lower average power than most of the field. But how am I finishing first? It's because I've saved all my energy, and that's what allows me to burn all my matches at the end and do a big sprint at the end in just the right position. So it's not always about the fastest, strongest guy. You have to have both. It's the fastest, strongest guy who's conserved all of that strength for moments when it matters most.
Somebody, I don't know their first name, said, "Hey Jeff, what would happen if a Belgian squad showed up at Alviso?"
I mean, I know what answer they want. It's like, obviously, it'd be like saying, what would happen if a Russian squad ended up? It's like, I have no idea, but I'll just play the game and say, Belgians are good at riding flat terrain. I guess the real question would have been a Dutch team. That would have been better, because that's even more extreme. They're usually bigger, heavier, and better in flat crosswind races. But assuming you're talking about some like elite team, yeah, it would be difficult, and I would have to be really fast and really smart that day to try to sneak out the win, because I assume that they would drill it in the crosswinds and they would know exactly how to race on a flat crosswindy race, which is Alviso. So they would make it very hard, and you know, it would probably go from a field of 40 to a field of 7 in about 3 laps. That would be my guess, and I would hope to be part of that 7. And I feel confident I would be part of that 7. But then, what happens when it becomes 2? Would I be a part of that 2? That's the real question.
We got a couple of good ones. Enrico said, can you suggest a GPS cycling computer on a budget? Are the Chinese $50 ones worth it? Chris said they're just trying to find a used Garmin.
I don't know. Do you guys have experience with that? Sorry. I wouldn't buy. I would support the cycling industry, and I would buy a second-hand, second generation Garmin or something like that, or one of their lower end ones. I have an Edge 130 plus. I think you can get the 130 too, 130 also, and they're both great, and they're cheap. So that would be my suggestion, and stay away from the knockoff stuff, because you just never know.
You buy a Chinese brand, if something goes wrong with the hardware, you're going to be paying out your nose for shipping and the warranty process, most likely. So you may as well pay a little bit more for a Garmin or a watch.
You don't need the super high-end Garmin. You really don't. I mean, if you're like doing, you know, virtual segments and you need like a color map, I don't know, you have a phone in your pocket too, right? Like, to me, this is just my opinion, a lot of those features I don't even use. So the 130 plus, I don't know the price of it offhand, but it's fantastic. I'll plug a sponsor of the channel too. Stages has the dash head unit. There it is.
This thing is awesome. So when I was like shopping around for bike computers before Stages was a sponsor, I was like, Wahoo or Garmin, which one's better? Didn't even look at anything else. And honestly, this one's like perfect. It's fine. I don't use it that much, you know? I have a phone if I really, really needed it, if I was on a budget.
So you get 20% off. There's a link in the description of this video if you want the Stages dash. Take a look at that. You'll get 20% off. And the Garmin Edge 130 is another great computer. I don't know which one's cheaper. 20% off the dash or full price for the 130. But they're both going to do everything you need. The dash is like, Stages prides themselves on the analytics of the dash. And it's got a really pretty screen, and it's got a really long battery. So there's a lot of great things about the dash.
Okay?
What?
It won the tour last year.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
it's on their home screen if you go to their website.
Well, you can win the tour also if you buy it. So that's what that means, right?
Want it.
By the way, none of you picked a helmet.
Helmet?
Well, I made that video with Chris about a 4K bike. Did you guys watch that? And yeah, like, we got a lot of comments like, hey, you didn't pick pedals, or you didn't pick a helmet, or you didn't pick clothes. And I know we didn't. Because the point of the video is like, if you have $4,000 to spend on a bike, what are the things, you need a working bike, but what are the things that are going to help you that we think is where the money is best well spent? I also didn't include food. Like, that line has to be drawn somewhere, and we just didn't think it was worth talking about stuff like, you know, what kind of pedals, because pedals are pedals. Like, I didn't see any value in throwing money at some insight I have into like deluxe pedals, but my recommendation for like a single-sided power meter, I think, is good, because I spent a long time not using power, and I think I wish I could go back in time and change that. So the point of the video is to show like, where is that money best well spent? And I think it just wouldn't have been a good use of the time on YouTube to talk about pedals, because pedals are pedals. I don't know. We might do another one though, and we probably won't talk about pedals in the next one either. So heads up.
So Shuban asked, "Hey Jeff, what are your goals for 2021?" And I think we should just go around everybody.
Are you guys hearing Logan? I'm not hearing anything.
Can y'all not hear me?
I can hear you.
Jeff, can you hear me? I guess. See if that works. Can you hear me now? You can hear me, right, William?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Just Jeff. Whatever.
My goal is hopefully just the race
Jeff, can you hear any of it?
by Memorial Day. Hopefully.
Sorry, what would you say?
Just be able.
If you guys can hear me, Logan, you gotta keep talking, man. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you gotta keep talking. I'm not getting any audio. Keep answering questions. I'm working on it. I don't know if it's working at all. I don't know if this is TrainerRoad or if this is. Okay, well, if you guys can hear me, I don't know what's going on. It seems like maybe the TrainerRoad app went on the fritz. First, I lost connection, and then it seemed like Logan was unable to hear anybody either. So I don't know if the app crashed. So sorry, guys. If you can hear this, I'm going to put this in a text also. But I think that's going to wrap our live stream today. Sorry, I'm super frustrated. I wish we could continue this, but I don't know if the app is having it today. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you guys next time.